Welcome to Politics Done Right. I am your host, Egberto Willies. This is a progressive program that will take the mystery out of politics. This is the program that will encourage you to make sure government becomes we the people. Whether you are liberal, progressive, conservative, or otherwise, you get to air your point of view. We are an independent media outlet that, unlike mainstream media beholden to corporations, we only owe allegiance to you. Remember, you can also send me a tweet at EGBERTOWILLIES. That is at Egberto Willies. Let us engage. It is Politics Done Right. Well, folks, welcome to one more edition of Politics Done Right. I'm Egberto Willies, your host. Thank you so kindly for being a part of the show. We are going to have a great show for you today, as usual. We got some interesting things to talk about, folks. Anyway, welcome aboard. AVQ from Brooklyn, New York. Welcome aboard. El Senor Paul Fleming Sr. from Powder Springs, Georgia. Welcome aboard. El Senor Eric Hayes from Kingwood, Atascocita. Welcome aboard. Lee Grant from Montgomery County. Welcome aboard. Joanne from Los Angeles, California. Welcome aboard. Harry Denson from Missouri City, Texas. Welcome aboard. Sue, remember I missed the first few people on Substack, but welcome Sue Regier, Marge KJ, Amy MW, Anne-Marie Johnson, Kat Jeanette, Paul Zilk, and more. Thank you guys for being here. We're going to have a great show for you today. Harry says, good afternoon, state of Texas, and all the listeners around the world. Let us engage and have another edifying learning show from our host, Egberto, in the Hacienda of Politics. Me gusta como hablas, mi hermano. Joe says, I wasn't able to link a few times. No idea why. Glad to hear you. I'm glad you're here, beautiful. I'm glad you're here. Paul says, President Trump says he doesn't think you need a ceasefire during his meeting with Ukraine President Zelensky. A stark reversal from his comments going into his last meeting. The guy has no core. What would you expect? A man without a core. His words mean nothing. Welcome aboard, WT Actual F. What the actual F? I love that. Oh my God, you have me cussing, WT Actual F. John O'Connell, welcome aboard. Richard Sylvester is here. Fem K is also here in the house with us. Who am I missing that I have? And it would be good for you guys when you come in to say, hey, city and state. Love to see the city and state from where you're at. I have some good videos to show you, but beforehand, let me go ahead and show you our. There's this woman that I interviewed. We had first of all, the takeover, right? It was a quickly prepared rally protest, and we did it. Lisa Blair is in the house from Atlanta, Georgia. Welcome, Lisa. Glad to have you here. March K says, please, let's talk about something real. Trump is a tool for the billion. Yes, he is. And let's see, Richard Sylvester from Milford, Connecticut. Marge KJ, do you get my newsletters as well? Because, there's a particular newsletter where I explained that in reality, Trump is but a puppet being controlled by Thiel and others. Okay? You're absolutely right. He's controlled by Thiel and others. But again, he's the one that's going to take the blame. He's the one that takes the fall when they rip us off and we have somebody to be mad at him, because eventually it'll run out. But anyway, in that light, let me go ahead and play this from one of our protesters yesterday. And then as we go on, we'll continue. Two things I have today. Want to play the interview from Randi Weingarten. She got very powerful in that interview. And I also want to play you something beforehand of something that Donald Trump had to say. Judith Wygren, welcome aboard, and Do You Lie, welcome aboard. But here we go with that from actually Saturday.
I'm walking up. Let me tell you how serious things are. They are serious enough that somebody who is currently in need of a walker is willing to spend a hot morning in Texas to actually protest the evils occurring in our country right now. I'm honored to speak to, what's your name, ma'am?
My name is Jackie.
Jackie? Mm-hmm. Jackie, what are you doing here? And why, with all the pain that you're in, you are here?
Well, because I think that we have to use our voices and we have to let people know that how we feel. And maybe they feel the same way and they're just afraid to express it. And by being out here, we can show them that they're not alone. And we're in a serious time here. Things are happening very quickly. Here in Texas, we're a little isolated because our leaders don't. We kind of keep a cushion. They kind of keep the more liberal, the different thought people keep us down.
Right, they try to keep the progressive thought process on. But it's interesting because I just passed one of the signs here, and I keep up with numbers, but I didn't quite see the latest numbers, and it turns out that there are quite a few more Democrats in Texas than there are Republicans. But for some reason, Democrats haven't showed up. I think the activation that many of you are doing right now, being out here and people seeing there are more of you than it's led to believe, that it'll give you the impetus to go out here and participate.
I think a lot of people in Texas are waking up to the fact that our leadership does not have our best interest at heart. The thing that's going on right now are Democrats leaving the state in order to keep from voting on doing Trump's will of the gerrymandering. I think that's very heroic, and I think that it's horrific because the flooding that happened, actually FEMA came to Texas under Biden's administration.
Right.
And they wanted to put in a warning, the siren warning system that's used in a lot of areas that have dangerous weather patterns. And everybody knows that area is flooded. We had fatalities there before. And the fact that our governor turned them down because the money was offered by Democrats, that's shocking. And nobody seems to want to talk about that. And then this agenda that's up before with the gerrymandering, when a few people came back, it did come back on the vote the other night. I don't think anything actually happened on it yet, but he put the gerrymandering ahead of the flood on the docket.
You know what is interesting is you said something that is important. They didn't. The Kerr commissioners didn't take it because it was coming from Democrats. The governor didn't take it because it was coming from the Biden administration, who would have gotten credit for it. Mm-hmm. And here's the thing that has killed more Texans than anything else. Mm-hmm. We have been leaving billions of dollars on the table because we have not expanded Medicaid. The Medicaid expansion to the Affordable Care Act is denied every Texan that is due it. Mm-hmm. And that is our government choosing to have people die.
No, they don't want poor people in Texas.
Well,
they want those people to go to states that have more lenient benefits to people that, for whatever reason. And the reality is, even those of us that have, we're privileged. Most of us are very privileged. I would say most of us, but especially in this area and the Kingwood area. But the bottom line is, any of us are one paycheck away from homelessness.
Exactly.
And with all of our insurance rates going up because of the hurricanes, and it's just, everything's going up.
Right.
And the fact that nobody really is blaming the
people that have been in control for over 30 years in Texas.
Right.
You're absolutely right.
I think that a lot of people are waking up to the realization that Abbott and Paxton's been under indictment since we've lived here, and I've been here almost 30 years. I think Houston is one of the best cities in Texas. I think that we're more diverse, we're more, I don't know, it's just a nice...
It's a great city.
It is a great city.
And you know what? We are going to make sure to keep it that way. Yeah. Thank you so kindly for speaking to me.
Okay. Well, thank you for taking your time. I appreciate it.
All of our country's problems...
So the rally was very successful. I mean, we had... Remember, the No Kings rally had about 700 people. This one had 70 people, just 10% of it. But for somebody who's been doing protests in Kingwood for decades now, starting with the Occupy Kingwood that we had out here, where we were lucky to have a consistency of 25 people for 52 consecutive weeks. Like I told Cindy Hendrickson, who arranges these rallies, her rallies have been more successful than any rally here in Texas. And it is something she ought to be very proud about doing, because again, she has accomplished, and by the way, I'm using Cindy as a template, but the reality is that indivisibles all over this state, all over this country, they have been overperforming in such a manner that we're reaching that magical number that Michael Rudden knows about, that 3.5% rate. When you get to that 3.5% of people, that is when change occurs. That's when you actually force the hands of the politicians to change. And that is where we're at right now, folks. So don't let that, most of the newspapers and the mainstream media aren't carrying the protests as they should. I mean, we have Rachel Maddow that's doing it very well. Our Fox 26 here in Houston actually covered here in Kingwood our rally. And they had Cindy Hendrickson on speaking, and they put the cuts that they made were perfect. Cindy wasn't originally happy with it. I was happy with it because I know what producers do when they relay the story of progressives protesting. But they actually said it right. And by the way, just for people in this very supposedly conservative town, it ain't as conservative as people believe. We got more thumbs up and honking horns for doing what we're doing. We have people rolling down their mirrors and saying, their windows and saying, thank you for doing this. We had Republicans in those 70 people. Many of them were Republicans. They have no intentions of turning the page and becoming Democrats. Most of them have said they're now independents. But that is how change occurs. You engage, and that's what happens, right? I want to play another one. I think this is one with Cindy, and then we'll take it on the other side. Let's go ahead and listen to what Cindy had to say.
Well, once again, Cindy, our leader, Indivisible Kingwood, is here. Another protest. Again, I expected to see 5 or 10 people here in Kingwood. We had a big one that you brought up with 700 people a few weeks ago. You're keeping it going. I heard, and you tell me, this was sort of a emergency type protest. So tell me first a little bit about you, and then let's hear what we're doing here today.
I don't know what you want to know about me, but...
Let me tell you what I want to know about you. Okay. I want to know how a woman with her small business here in Kingwood decided to come out and be active in our body politic.
Well, we've been doing this off and on since Trump 1.0, so since 2017. And now I feel like it's desperate. What drives me to do this is my upbringing. I was brought up as an Air Force brat. I lived around people from all over the world. I was taught to respect democracy, to be patriotic, and I don't feel like we're doing any of those things right now with the person in charge and the Republican Party. So I feel like we've got to make noise. We've got to take a stand. I know protests may not do much, but it lets people know we're here and we're not going to put up with this. We're going to make noise regardless. We're going to do some other stuff too, but this is our public voice, our public presence.
Now, how did this come about today? Because I think you had one a couple weeks ago as well.
Yeah, we had one 2 weeks ago. I received an email from indivisible.org. I don't know, 3 or 4 days ago. It was really fast.
Right.
And they said, hey, can you guys get out in the streets? We need to do a rally. And it is really spun off of Greg Abbott doing Trump's bidding on the gerrymandering here in Texas, because they feel like that is a precursor to what he might want to do nationwide. So it's incumbent upon the Texans to get out here and make noise on behalf of the entire nation.
Now, interestingly, they're constantly trying to carve out more Republican districts. I just saw a sign here, researched, that pointed out there are actually more Democrats in Texas than Republicans. I didn't know. I knew that there was sort of parity because we once were a Democratic state.
Correct.
So it was interesting that the number has grown so wide over the last several months.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. I did see that information online the other day, and it was kind of interesting to me. So that proves to you that we've got a couple of things going going on. Yes, gerrymandering, but I also think voter apathy. And I'm certainly hopeful that people will not be apathetic next go round. We can't afford it.
I think one of the things you said that earlier, you said something that you don't know how effective protest is. I think when people see that they have other people that think like them, that is the effectiveness of the protest. It engages people to actually get activated. And I think the job that you're doing right here is much more important than maybe you or many that are out here believe, in that this shows all these cards that are going around here that, yes, people are engaged, and no, my thoughts are not alone.
That's true. And I think that's one reason why we continue to do this.
And we want to thank you, Cindy Hendrickson, for, I'm serious, this is not an easy job.
No, it's not.
It's not an easy job. It's not an easy job to corral people. It's not an easy job to get people out on a hot Saturday morning. So I want to give you kudos as an activist myself. You are doing a hell of a job. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All of our country's problems from
She is, in fact, doing a hell of a job. Now, I want you to listen to this woman. This woman says, I've had it, and this is what we're going to do going forward.
Morning, beautiful. What's your name?
Irene.
Irene,
Yes.
You are here protesting on a very hot Saturday morning. I know you could be at home at your pool, sitting down with a cup of coffee. Why are you here?
I'm here because I'm angry.
Why are you angry?
I'm angry about a lot of things. I'm angry about what's going on in White House. I'm angry about all of the shenanigans that's being pulled in my state of Texas and in the White House. They're just taking everything that we've got. I've been protesting since 1964. Everything that I've protested for has been taken away from me. And it's time for me to get out of the house and say, no more. I'm angry.
Now, you are of an age where you have worked all of your life. You have invested in this country. You made this country. Now we have some charlatans out there that are attempting to rule by decree that which all of you worked for. Tell me, what do we need to do to mitigate this?
Well, the first thing we have to do is put our boots on the ground. We got to if you're angry, you need to be out here. Because if you're in the house, we think you're happy and we think you don't care. Everything that we ever got in America, voting rights, abortion rights, every right that we've ever had, we have had to come out and stand in the sun and the elements to get it. Nobody gives you anything. You got to come out here, and that's why I'm here. And I encourage everybody, if you're upset, if you're mad, you need to be out here. Let somebody know you're mad. Because if you're in the house, I think you're happy.
And that's the best closer. Thank you so kindly.
You're welcome.
All of our country's problems from...
And she nailed it. She nailed it. But I've got a little story for you guys. Donald Trump is always thinking that, and you know, the guy's not very smart. And he likes to think out loud. And every opportunity that he gets to think out loud, he does that, right? He does it. And it happened today. President Zelensky of Ukraine gave him the opportunity to do it. I want you guys to check this out, and then we'll take it en el otro lado. ¿Está bien? Aquí lo tienes. Donald Trump said something in his meeting with Zelensky today that everybody better pay attention to. As we see Donald Trump militarize Los Angeles, as we see Donald Trump militarize DC, as we see Donald Trump try testing ICE, beating up on people and trying to create disruption in the country, I want you to listen to this. This is one of his plans. He doesn't have anything concrete yet, but he's trying to figure out a way. How do I stay in power? Check this out, and then we'll take it on the other side.
Let me get peace. Are you open to holding an election in your country?
Yes, of course. We are open for election, yes. We have to do safety circumstances, and a little bit we need to work in the parliament, because during the war you can't have elections, but we can do security. We need, we need a truth, yes, everywhere, the battlefield, in the sky, and the sea, to make it possible for people to do democratic open legal elections.
So you say during the war you can't have elections. So let me just say 3.5 years from now. So you mean if we happen to be in a war with somebody, no more elections? We happen to be in a war with somebody, no more elections.
You might think this is funny. In fact, Zelensky laughed. His media, Donald Trump's media, tried to change the subject quickly because they understood that a lot of people are not going to take this as a joke because they know how this Führer's mind works. They know how this incompetent mind works. They know that he cares nothing or he has no shame. He has no possibility of knowing right from wrong. So they know when he heard Zelensky says, well, I am staying. The reason we don't have elections right now is that we are at war. And unless we have a truce, unless we have a ceasefire, you can't expect the people to go out and vote. And that's why we don't have elections now. And right then, Donald Trump's ears went up. Oh, so if you're at war, and whether it's war from external in your country or civil war, or in other words, insurrections that I call insurrections, he calls everything an emergency now. I declare an emergency. And guess what? No elections, folks. If you don't think this thug is thinking about that, rest assured that this was just an opportunity for him to put yet another test case into your psyche. Remember, he does all the bad things he does it in front of you most of the times because he wants to inoculate you when he actually does it for real. He wants you to be like that person inoculated against some sort of a poison because you have been made amenable to that poison over time. Again, we better watch out.
Oliver.
Well, it turns out, Bruce asked, but that's not in the Constitution, is it? Well, if you declare martial law, the Constitution, all the effects of the Constitutions are not there because you've declared martial law. So the exception to the Constitution is martial law. So, let me tell you, folks, these guys are looking for any and every way to stay in power, and they can actually accomplish it if Congress is weak and if the people don't step up. But you know what? Our people are starting to step up, and I have every faith that it'll continue to step up. Anyway, I have an important video to show you now. Her name is Randi Weingarten. She left the DNC. I want you to listen to her story. I think I've spoken to her a couple of times before at different conferences. I think this is one of the best interviews she's given me. Check this out. Welcome to another edition of Politics and Right. I'm Egberto, Willies, your host. Today we are honored to have the one and only. You know who I'm talking about, right, guys? We're talking about Randi Weingarten. Let me tell you this. Well, Randi is the president of the American Federation of Teachers, a role she has held since 2008 after leading the United Federation of Teachers from 1998 to 2008. Oh, 2009.
I overlapped 1 year.
Okay, you overlapped. Okay.
It almost killed me.
I can imagine. All right. An attorney and former high school social studies teacher, she earned a BS in labor relations from Cornell and a JD from Cardozo School of Roosevelt Institute. Weingarten champions public education as a foundation to democracy. She fights standardized testing excess, supports community schools with wraparound services, and defends educators' rights with unwavering resolve. And we've spoken about that quite often. But
how are you?
I am
today?
doing fine. How are you doing?
I'm okay. In this police state that we are living in.
I am glad you started that way. You went ahead and decided to get started politically. So I want to ask you this. Why'd you leave the DNC?
So I decided, and Lee Saunders and I kind of did it at the same time. We decided, even after we were invited, not to be at-large members. Mm-hmm. So we represent, if you think about it, two of the biggest unions who have long supported democratic causes. And I don't want to speak for him, but I'll speak for myself. I think we decided that we needed a little bit of independence and that our members needed us. You know, we very much, or I very much am willing to fight for communities and our members and the labor movement and workers. But sometimes if people are not listening as much as we think they should, and I didn't think that the new DNC leadership was, that after a while, then you're just going to put your efforts elsewhere. It's not that they're bad people, but we have to expand the tent, and we have to expand the tent in ways that workers everywhere feel like they have a home in the Democratic Party, regardless of where they may be culturally. Like if a worker, take in FDR's time, if a worker was really conservative culturally, they still felt that the Democratic Party was there for them in terms of the fight for better wages and better benefits, and that their families could have a better life. So I think the way in which you don't abandon all of the dignity issues is that you create a bigger tent on the economic issues. So there are a bunch of us who have been saying that, but there needs to be action, not just policy. So I said, I'm going to put my efforts elsewhere.
And I think I agree with you 100%. But I'm going to ask you to give me a little bit of specifics, because in a lot of ways you went around. And I think one of the problems we have with the DNC and the party proper is that we don't come out often and say, this is what you are not doing and what you must do. And
so
I can say that outright.
See, so part of what I don't want to do is like what I've tried not to do is have any of the private conversations.
Right.
Because I don't think that would be productive.
I agree with that.
Yeah. But I'll tell you this. So I thought, for example, I think that the Democrats in Congress, Hakeem Jeffries, Chuck Schumer, and others, I think they did a superb job. The Democrats in Congress did a superb job on making clear why the Trump bill, he calls it the big beautiful bill, I call it the big ugly betrayal.
Right.
Why that was a huge wealth transfer between poor to rich, and what it actually does for regular human beings. This fight on the soul of our country is not going to be won or lost in a capital vote.
Right.
It's going to be won or lost on the streets of Main Street.
Amen.
And so when Ken Martin ran saying part of his whole platform was we have to be a 50-state party again and we have to be on Main Street. So where was that during the whole debate? Where was the action on Main Street? Where were the state political parties? Where were the local Democratic clubs? Where was the chorus? I mean, the labor movement did it. You know, we were thousands of my members wrote letters. We were at town halls. We did ads. You could not be in the Congress without seeing somebody from SAIU in a purple shirt.
I know. I was with them.
I mean, you couldn't. You saw people from Moms Rising all there. You saw others there. You saw us there. You saw. We were. But where was the Democratic Party per se organized the state political parties, the local Democratic clubs? Where was this? Where were they? And so that's what I mean about you can't just say, okay, we're going to do we're going to do telephoning tonight. That's important, but where you got to have a presence on the streets.
You have to have flesh and blood.
Yeah,
in the field.
Look what we did on No King's Day. I mean, there were a whole bunch of groups: Indivisible, AFT, many of the pro-democracy groups. Where was the institutional? I mean, where were the institutional players? So that's what I'm saying when there's my kids at Clare Barton High School when I taught. And by the way, I'm actually still on leave from my teaching position.
Oh, really?
Unpaid leave from my teaching position. I never retired from New York City
So you're
schools.
still a teacher.
So I am still
the
a
most
teacher.
important profession in the world.
And I'm actually going to teach at CUNY in January or February because I love it. And I feel like I want to, and I've talked to the union about it, and I feel like I really want to, like I can't with my job be in a classroom in Brooklyn every day,
Right.
particularly when I'm on a plane every day. So that I'm not going to be able to do. But once a week, do things to have that direct connection again. So you can, first off, I miss it. But secondly, so you can kind of close your eyes and say, this is what my members do. So I'm very lucky that the staff of the union and the other leaders of the union are allowing me to do some of these things, like write a book or teach or things like that, which I think are important.
I'm going to ask you about your book as well.
But my point is, if you're not on the streets, if you're not out there with people, how are you going to change hearts and minds? And that's what I think we have to do, the surround sound.
Look, I am glad that you said that.
Is that specific enough?
And I think more importantly, your voice have to get out there. Being a former member of the DNC, I think you were rather kind with both Jeffries and Schuman. You were rather kind with them. There was $1.2 billion that we raised, and I don't know that it was spent into the areas that it should have been spent, but we won't go there. Where I want to go with you is,
they are doing the best. I do think the people who are actually in Congress right now, they don't have power. I think the people in Congress right now, I think the attorney generals right now,
they're doing great jobs.
I think the governors right now, I think that these four units of people who are in office elected are really trying. I think what I'm saying is that the party itself, you have to be the surround sound.
Yeah.
You have to actually support the people of America. And when people in our party, like a Maxwell Frost, like a Hakeem Jeffries, like an AOC, like Chris Murphy, like Cory Booker, like an Amy Klobuchar, when they are out there fighting, where's the chorus?
Right.
Where's the people on Main Street? That's what I'm saying. That's what expands the town.
I get it. I get it. Now, let me ask you this. What tangible harm do you ascribe to Trump's policies or rhetoric regarding the Department of Education or public school? And how did the damage Doge did affect our entire educational system in the aggregate?
So so I don't think we're going to know for a very long time the effect of the damage of Doge, because one of the most important effects of Doge is they took all of our private information and they put it into AI.
Mm-hmm.
So someone has a lot of information to create a surveillance state in a modern era on all of us.
Mm-hmm.
And so when they have, and we went in and we got an injunction initially, like on Doge, so I want to do this first, but I want to get to the other piece. So on Doge, for example, we took a lawsuit, went in immediately, stopped them at the lower court level from taking, for purposes other than specifically intended by law, the student loan information of everyone who was getting a Pell Grant or having a student loan and was a student debt borrower. You're talking about 45 million people. We said, what are you doing with this information? This is not yours. That it goes to the government simply because the government is now the big bank on student debt borrowing. Why are you using it for anything else? You have no right to use it for anything else. Lower court said, you're right. Middle court, appellate court said, oh no, you haven't proven like that they're going to use it nefariously. And each of these individuals, if they use it nefariously, they can sue. Okay, so you may be surveilled now for hours, weeks, months, years. You have no idea. You have no idea why you didn't get this job or that job, or you didn't get this, your mortgage or this or that. You don't. So, and you're going to bring a private right of action. And
it costs you as well.
And it costs you. So we lost. So that's why I'm saying we're not going to know for a long time what those effects were. This is the effect we'll know. Notice they said immediately, oh, we're going to get rid of the Department of Education. They knew they couldn't because Congress has to take what Congress gives. And this was, I'm sorry, I'm like being the 11th grade social studies teacher again. There's three branches of government.
Yes. The legislature,
the president, the courts. The courts interpret the law. The legislature makes the law. The president executes the law. So the president can actually make the law that says no education department. So what they did instead was they basically cut enough people in the education department that it can't function.
Right.
So I'll go back to student loans for a second. An article today or this week came out. They cut virtually most of the people in the student loan department. There are 27,000 complaints that have not been heard, ombudsman complaints of people, kids, young people, adults who are having a problem with their loan servicers. They can't get a question answered. They think they're paying the wrong thing. They think maybe they should be getting public service loan forgiveness now. They're not getting it. Whatever the questions are. What does Linda McMahon do? She's putting all these people into default and going to debt collectors. So student loan borrowers are going to debt collectors. They can't get 27,000 of them can't get their questions answered. That's the priority of this administration. The debt collectors are not stopping. The loan services are not stopping trying to get their money, trying to actually put people into bankruptcy. But yet these kids, these young people trying to go to college and have a better life, or maybe they finished college and now they're trying to figure out how they pay $100, $200, $500 a month as they're trying to do everything else. So that's the damage that they do.
And that is progressive.
That's progressive. I mean, that's 27,000 we just heard of who have specific complaints. We know of 2 million people who want to try to get into one loan program. There's a backlog about which loan program they can get into because Linda McMahon threw out all Biden's loan programs. So you have a mess that's going to affect about 45 million people. And then on top of that, but that's not the thing that I'm most worried about. What I'm most worried about what they've done in terms of education is not how many people they have or don't have in the Department of Education. I mean, I care about the workers, but that's not the issue. Everybody wants everything to be more efficient. We should all want things to be more efficient. And frankly, I mean, I don't know a teacher in New York City that like the Board of Ed as a bureaucracy either. We don't like bureaucracies. We want them to be more efficient. We want them to help us, not make rules about us. This is the issue. The cuts. How dare you cut after school programs? How dare you do this like on June 30th when all these schools are supposed to get that money on July 1st for this coming school year, the one that started right now? How do you say on June 30th, oops, we're not giving it to you? For the summer programs.
They already started the cut to the high schools? I mean, to the lunch programs? I mean, no,
I'm talking about even before we get to the lunch programs. I'm talking about in between the big, beautiful, ugly bill and all this other stuff. $7 billion was supposed to go out for after-school programs, for summer school programs that were happening right then.
And that's what Doge did.
No, that's what Linda McMahon did. So on top of everything else, forget about Doge for a second. This is what's so venal about these people. Like, you just decide, oh no. And why did they decide, oh no, kids are not going to get their summer programs? Oh, because they have something about DEI in it. Like, literally, okay, what are you doing? You're calling your football game, Frederick Douglass football game. So therefore, there's something about DEI in it. And like, what are you doing to children? So we pushed very hard on that. We got that taken care of a couple of weeks ago. But why? On money that red districts, blue districts, why would you do that? Why would you be so disruptive? And so what's happening with this department is there's money for poor kids, money for kids with disabilities. They are really playing around with the money that goes directly to kids in schools. It's just having a hugely disruptive effect. So really, truly, if you're a president of the country, why would the first thing you ever do say, I'm getting rid of the thing that helps our future. I mean, that sends a message to all of us that he doesn't care about people, particularly children. That's number one. Number two, the biggest education program in your big ugly bill is to basically set aside almost $50 billion, twice as much money as the federal government sends to poor kids and kids with disabilities. You're going to put $50 billion in a voucher bill, as opposed to putting $50 billion in for career
Another
tech
transfer
ed,
of wealth,
for kids with disabilities, kids who are poor, kids who need lunch. That's your priorities. And then on top of it, every single day, even programs that are supposed to go out to people, then don't go out to people. That disruptive effect. That's the abandonment of public education. That's the stuff that is horrible.
Randy.
Sorry.
Wait.
I'm so angry about this.
Randy, let me tell you this. You mentioned about the DNC. You worry about where's the chorus. You mentioned about all these things. This is what we're talking about.
Correct.
If everybody was doing this, if the entire party went out and did this, if the entire party also went into red areas and let them know that they're going to be affected more so than anybody else.
And there are local Democratic clubs all over the place. Just tell the story of how these actions, stop with the big fancy rhetoric. Tell the story of how these actions really hurt kids and hurt families. And that's what they should be doing.
I had a bunch of questions for you, and in your entire narrative, you answered them all. I had 10 of them lined up, and I'm like, okay, she hit that one. Okay, she hit that one. But there's one that you didn't hit.
Right.
And here it goes. Why Fascist Fear Teachers offers a roadmap to defend schools. What a core. Folks, check that out.
This is a galley. It's going to be out in September 16th.
Why are you waiting until September?
Well, it was because it was back to school. And, it's hard to write a book.
We need to be right. You have it done.
September. So this is a galley. It's going to be out. You can pre-order it right now.
Pre-order this woman's book.
You can do it. Just do it. And whatever search engine you have.
We got to see it right.
Go into the search engine.
There you go.
Go to whyfascistfearteachers.com and you can figure out how to order it.
As you can see, she's very excited about the issue.
Look, I am because why every single day the people look, you have Democrats that
Randy, you don't have to be kind.
Criticize public education, but every single day you have people from Chris Rufo to Mike Pompeo to all these people who criticize public school teachers,
right?
Who call people pedophiles, who ban books, who erase history, who if we're saying we need this money for after school programs and for summer programs, they're like, oh, you have a woke agenda. No, I have an agenda of kids reading, of kids writing, of kids loving school, of kids having the skills and knowledge they need to soar, of kids actually having a safe and welcome environment. And so I just wanted to know why these guys smear teachers as opposed to support us. And that's why I wrote Why Fascists Fear Teachers.
Let me tell you, folks, she doesn't know how happy she's made me. We need to have this passion to take this country back. This is real. This is real. Randy, give me a closer. What did I not ask you that I should have asked you?
I think I just want to say one more thing as we start school this year to the parents of America, to our kids that we support, and to the educators of America. The educators of America, as they go back to school right now, they're my heroes. They want to do the best they can do for our kids. That's why they're teachers. They certainly don't go into teaching to get rich. And I just want us to be working with parents on the same team. We gotta, social media is our enemy. We're competing with that. All of this disinformation and misinformation, the divisiveness, the otherizing. This is the greatest country on earth. We have an ability to actually make the future better for all instead of worse. That's what teachers do. Please, let's all we got to work together to take the country back and make the country the fair, just place for all. So all can have an opportunity. All can have access to the American dream. And that's what teachers are trying to do. And that's what they're going to try to do in their classrooms, regardless of the shit that gets thrown at them.
You know the statements we make at Politics Done Right. The most important profession, bar none, more so than doctors, lawyers, politicians, stockbrokers, are teachers, because they are the ones who make all of those.
Exactly.
Randy, thank you so kindly for having been on Politics Done Right.
Thank you.
All of our country's problems from polarization.
And I hope you enjoyed that. Randy was passionate. And we went on a bit longer than that with, talking that we didn't put into the interview because it was pretty much off record. But I tell you what, look, we got to take our country back. And guess what, guys? We will. Look, I'm going to, anybody wants to give me a call now? I have about 5 minutes or so I can get calls. I'm going to check out a little bit early because I have a speech to give to the Democrats abroad today. We're doing a Zoom that's going to be taking over wherever it is they are. I think some of them are in Mexico. Some of them are elsewhere. One of the things I'm going to talk about is, this birthright citizenship is one thing. But the other thing that I want to talk about is we have over 2.8 million eligible voters overseas. They are about 77% left-leaning Democrats overseas. 2.8 million overseas voters. It is important that we bring those votes into the fold. That is more than the margin of the election. Think about that. If these folks that decided to leave the country, a lot of them have left the country because they've had it. Not all, but a lot of them have. But they need to make sure and come and put their votes in. Again, 77% of our eligible voters abroad are Democrats or further left. Think about that. Think about the difference they can make in our elections as well. So if you have a brother, sister, a cousin, anybody that's overseas, tell them they got to vote. They need to vote. That's why Donald Trump is scared of voting by mail, because it brings more people into the fold. Anyway, folks, if you want to give me a call before I close this baby down, give me a call at 281-823-7747. Let me put it in the chat. How can we eliminate vote by mail? We can't. Or we won't. All right, Michael, thank you for being here. Give us a call, 281-823-7747. Let me put that in there, 281-823. I hope you guys enjoyed the program. I had a lot of videos today. 281-823-7747. Did I get that right? I think I did. There it is. If you want to call in, I'll take calls for about 5 minutes. 281-823-7747. Our beautiful Bridge. How are you doing, beautiful?
Hey, you. Hey, guys. I came on late, so I didn't catch the video you had of Trump, but I saw it. I saw it already. And I actually posted it into my group. But I looked it up, and first of all, the liar in chief votes by mail. He has always voted by
exactly.
Mail. His children do mail-in voting. He's such a liar. How Paul said something about they win, they extra his drivers. No, they go, come on.
But wait, but hold on, Benito. I want to say one thing. I just want to say something there, because I want to show you how bad the mainstream media is. He was given a press conference, and after he said that statement, one would expect someone of our liberal, supposedly they're liberal, someone of our liberal reporters to say, but President, don't you and your entire family vote by mail? Thank you, Breach.
Exactly. I mean, seriously, why isn't the first person that gets up there and says you're a liar should get the Nobel Peace Prize? That's the end of that. But I ended up looking it up. I was curious, during a war, whether he starts one, whether we're in one, whether we're in a civil war, whether he makes an executive stupid order that doesn't count. He doesn't get to choose that we cannot vote. It's in our Constitution. It is law. I posted it on the site for you. It is in the law, and
right.
It started in 1845. And the only way to stop that is if Congress does it, which we don't know what this Congress will do, but it's very difficult to do something like that.
But also, it's a state's right. It's a state's right, which means you need 2/3 of Congress and a constitutional amendment.
Right. States does their own thing. I mean, that we have our own laws. But the three things that came out of the article was holding elections during difficult times is an American tradition. Elections demonstrate the resilience of the people's government, and no incumbent president has ever lost re-election during a war. That's the one thing that kind of sticks out to me. But other than that, what he's talking is utter bull. They just give him something to do because he doesn't do anything else. He doesn't understand it. He's demented. He's gone.
The thing about it is they don't challenge it. And you know what was so sad? You watch his cabinet meetings, and when you watch his cabinet meetings, you watch how they kowtow to him. Thank you, Mr. President. You're great, Mr. President. If it wasn't for your great leadership, Mr. President, of course the guy's a dummy. We know that there's no leadership. But you know what was today when all these ministers around him with Zelensky, they're talking, thank you, Mr. President, for putting the meeting together. When they all know that the president is a sycophant for Vladimir Putin. What
exactly? Where was the red carpet for Zelensky?
Exactly.
He didn't get a flyover. He didn't get a red carpet.
We need to return for our own sake, for the sake of Americans as well. We need to have first of all, if we're going to have superpowers, we are going to need to have a multipolar system. In other words, the superpower of North America, maybe America, the superpower of the European Union. We can get the Brazil, the Bolivarian superpower made up of Brazil, Argentina, and these countries. Because when you have somebody that is as stupid as our president, it's great that he's ours. It's great that the power lies with us still because we have so much military power. But it's a danger to the entire world. We need a multipolar world. I tell you that. We need a multipolar world.
That whole government. That's why Zelensky had the whole government entourage from Europe and NATO.
Right.
And even Marco Rubio said, we weren't going to try to ambush him, obviously admitting that they did ambush him the last time. But that's why they were all there, showing that. And then Trump said, well, we won't get involved. We'll kind of let you guys do it, and then if you need our help, we'll help you.
Exactly. Now,
really?
Catherine Hill brought up on Substack BRICS. Yeah, that is Brazil, Russia, India, South Africa, and China. Yes. Now, that is a monetary economic system, not a military system, but anyhow. But, I want BRICS. I want all these different multipolar organizations so that no one country, in case you get taken over by a crazy thug like we got, that somehow they can't destroy the world, because he's doing a good job in destroying the economic system, not of just America, but of the entire world. What he's doing is depressing our own economy by collecting all these tariffs on our own, and in the process also reducing overall world economic activity, because again, that money is not going back into the economic system. It's going into the hands of billionaires who are not spending it. So, my next book is going to cover this. Go ahead.
On the other side of that, he's making billions off of all this stuff.
Exactly.
Him and his cronies and his family are making billions under the table and all this stuff.
Exactly.
And I don't know how much money you can't take it with you. I mean, God. Anyway, that's all I wanted to say is that he really can't do it.
Thank you so kindly for calling in, guys. And I am going to do my ask. Thank you very much, beautiful. I'm going to do my quick ask right now, folks. And then I got to take off and prepare for that talk that I'm going to give to the Democrats abroad. So bear with me 1 second as I pull that up. But please consider becoming a paid subscriber of Politics Done Right. Our Egberto, it's Egberto Off the Record, or a newsletter that funds everything. That funds Politics Done Right. It funds all our platforms. It is the one central location that we have everything. So I'm asking those of you who have the wherewithal. I know everybody's asking for stuff, right? But you see what we do. We're not only in front of a camera, we're out there in the streets, as you see, as we bring the voice of people from Kingwood and other places here. You see, we bring the voices from Netroots to everybody. We actually perform. We're not just like those influencers that stay behind a damn camera and that's it. We make sure and bring you the real stuff, and we invest in doing the real stuff. So I ask you kindly, if you have the wherewithal, support our independent platforms. We cannot survive without you. And how can you do that? If you're on Substack already, just click Substack and become a paid subscriber. Or you can just go to politicsdoneright.com/newsletter, and I'm putting the link in both chats. We cannot do this without you. If it's not, and I have to thank folks from the time we started this, we have slowly, not like the big influencers, but we have slowly grown and grown with all of the things that we do. So I ask kindly once again, politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. And if you want to see all the different ways in which you can support our platform, there's that barcode that you see on the top that I'm starting to put on my videos. You'll see that show up in the future. Actually, I took it off. Anyway, you'll see that show up in the future. But if you also go to politicsdoneright.com/ where is it? Info, I believe it is. I forgot where it is. But politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. You support our program. Make sure that we are funded. But anyway, I got to get out of here. My name is Egberto Willies. I love you all. Thank you for being here. This is Politics Done Right. And you guys know how I end this baby. I am what? Out!
All of our country's problems, from polarization to ignorance on domestic and international issues to a complete misunderstanding of our economic and healthcare systems, are a direct result of a derelict mainstream media that too often bend over backwards to support corporate or bought politicians' wants as opposed to the people's needs for real information to make their lives better. Independent media is the only solution to inform truthfully and factually. Why? Because our loyalties are to you, the ones who fund us with small dollar contributions and subscriptions. Please consider supporting our independent media platforms by subscribing to our Egberto Off the Record newsletter at politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. Again, that is politicsdoneright.com/newsletter. It's an investment that pays incalculable dividends.